Good morning. Buongiorno. I welcome you all. This is not my house, this is the common house, the house of NATO, and I thank you all in a very special day. Today is a day dedicated to the memory of the past, but also, and even more, to commitment in our daily challenges and in hope and trust for the future. Art can communicate in a unique way. This installation is all about despair, but it's also about hope. The barbed wire and the flowers are part of the same message, and they speak about the possibility to be resilient and transmit hope and bravery in the most difficult circumstances one can imagine. Spes contra spem, we say in Latin, hope against all odds. As Pope Francis said yesterday on the International Holocaust Remembrance Day, indifference is not admissible. This means that assuming responsibility is mandatory for all of us, especially. The Japanese diplomat Chiune Sugihara, who saved thousands of lives and will be honored this year by the government of Lithuania. The Portuguese Aristides de Sousa Mendes, the exceptional role played by the king and the resistance movement of Denmark, together with the German diplomat Georg Ferdinand Dukowitz, in saving most of the Jewish population in Denmark. The honor of the people of Albania, where at the end of the war were living more Jews than at its beginning. And let's remember Bulgaria. It defied the Nazis by refusing to deport 50,000 Jews. 50,000 lives were saved. We have nice examples of bravery, of responsibility in each of our nations. And very often, diplomats and military were those who take their responsibilities. Responsibility is the key word. Each one of us can be a flower of hope. If not a cœur de lion, lion's heart, at least a dent de lion, a dandelion, like the flower that incredibly appears in one of the photos we are going to see in the hands of a little boy in Auschwitz. Today, in Italy, all flags of every public building, schools and barracks, Italian ministries and embassies around the world have their flag half-mast. It is an official day of national mourning by law since the year 2000. It is important that today, next to the Italian flag, all the other flags of NATO allies are half-mast. I am really grateful to Deputy Secretary General Geoana for this gesture and to all those in the Secretariat who made possible this simple ceremony and the art exhibit related to it. We can say that NATO is now part of a great world movement. Today in Auschwitz, leaders of the world are gathered to remember. The Italian President Mattarella was last week at Yad Vashem in Jerusalem, and he is now, as every year, in the Palace of Quirinale, with the highest authorities of the Italian Republic and many children to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. It happened only 4 years before the birth of our alliance, 4 years before the Treaty of Washington, which enshrines the values for which we stand. And these values are based on what happened during World War II, on our tragedies. And this is the source of our daily commitment, the values which are linked to the tragedy of Shoah. Our commitment should be the vaccine in order that this will never happen again, because we remember we are NATO. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Talò, and welcome everyone, dear ambassadors, dear Ambassador of Israel, dear artists, dear friends. Welcome everyone to NATO, to our home, to mark the International Holocaust Remembrance Day. On 27th of January 1945, 77 years ago today, the Soviet army liberated the 7,000 souls left alive in Auschwitz. In the 5 years before that, at least 1.1 million people have been murdered behind its barbed wire fences. Some 200 of the survivors will gather today, 1 hour and a half from now, in Auschwitz to witness with the rest of the planet the commemoration of these tragic years and tragic events. More than 6 million Jews, but also Roma, homosexuals, handicapped people, and Jehovah's Witnesses were killed. Killed not for what they had done, but for who they were. The Holocaust was an assault on all of humanity. It was about the destruction of the different. And what makes us different, what makes us unique, is what makes us human. After the war, the free nations of the world sought a new path. A path built on the upholding of universal values enshrined in the Charter of the United Nations. Values as the right to life, to freedom of religion, to freedom itself. NATO was created to uphold these values and to protect the peoples of Europe and North America from the tyranny that led to the Holocaust. 50 years after Auschwitz, now NATO intervened in Kosovo to prevent a new genocide on European soil. Yes, Ambassador, we must always remember, we must always remain vigilant, and we must always be prepared to act. For 75 years after the Holocaust, anti-Semitism remains. This we cannot accept.